So good morning, all of you. So from today's class, we shall discuss the fifth module, that is JDBC and database connectivity. So in this particular module, so we shall study about the overview of J2EE and J2SE, the concepts of JDBC. So the JDBC full form stands for Java Database Connectivity. Then the various driver types in JDBC, the various JDBC packages, followed by a brief overview of JDBC uh, process. Then we shall study the database connection, associating a JDBC and ODBC bridge, transaction processing, the various data types and exceptions. So these are the concepts which we will be studying in this module. So practically all applications, so irrespective of whether it is a web based or a standalone system based, preliminarily all of them will depend on one or the other kind of database. So the use of database is to store, extract the data. So this data storage is very important. And if we consider the high-end database applications such as the banking applications, financial one where billions and millions of transactions happen every hour, or even the stock market application, they require huge data storage and retrieval. So for that purpose, the data is saved, retrieved, and manipulated in the database. So Java provides a way to store the data in the database using J2EE component. So J2EE means it is Java 2 Enterprise Edition. So J2EE component provides database access using Java objects. For this purpose, the application programming interface has been developed. So that is the JDBC. So JDBC means Java Database Connectivity. So under JDBC, several APIs are provided. So API is nothing but a method or a function that are already defined in some packages. So they can be used to insert the data, retrieve, modify, or even delete the data that is stored in the database. So DBMS uses the same connections to load the messages back to J2EE component. So when we want to retrieve a data, we'll send a select star from command, right, with some conditions, whatever we want. When this select star from command is passed, the database will execute the query and return the result. So the return result will be in the J2EE object. So that will contain rows and columns of data. So once we receive that object, then we have to process that row by row. And depending on the application, we may decide what to do with that particular data. So earlier, the common gateway interface technology was adopted. So this has been now switched because of its some drawbacks. So this CGI technology consists of programs that were callable from a browser with appropriate hyperlink or submit button in the web pages. So in addition to calling a CGI program, using a browser, we were able to pass the data that is being entered by the user, or it has been hard coded in the hyperlink itself. So the data is sent from the browser in the form of a hyperlink. So this CGI program used the data to interact with the components, and then they will be retrieve the information from the database. So this CGI common gateway interface, it is a very old technology. So the information was then incorporated in a web page so that we can dynamically generate the web pages. So in order to overcome the drawbacks of CGI, so which had a performance issue, and it was a process based, and we saw the difference between a CGI programming and servlet programming. So all those drawbacks we overcome by having the JDBC connectivity itself. So all languages, all frameworks, they provide the database connectivity in one or the another way. Here we are discussing the concept of database connectivity only with regard to Java. So all languages provide, be it Python, R programming, PHP, Perl, C Sharp, C++, many other languages are there. All of them provide the connectivity to database, because no real world application can even be developed without the help of database. Even to provide a at least login information, we need a database. So the concept of JDBC. So this JDBC is commercially available in the market. So in the form of many famous databases, that is Oracle, DB2, Sybase, and many other popular databases are there. So this was a very challenging one at Sun Microsystem, so which developed the Java programming language to write a high level code for all popular DBMS. So see, Oracle is a database. From any language, we can connect to Oracle. We can connect to Oracle database from Java, from PHP, from Python, from C Sharp. But it will be a challenge for a database developer to provide interfaces to all these languages. So that's what the Sun Microsystem faced in the late 90s. So when they want to integrate with all the popular databases. So each database will be in its own low level formats. So the way we connect with Oracle or MySQL, so all of them are written by different corporations in different languages. So for a program to integrate with all of them, so it is a challenging one. So for that particular purpose, the JDBC drivers were written at Sun Microsystem. So this JDBC is a specification that describes the detailed functionality of the driver itself. So what does the DBMS manufacturer and the third party vendors do is they will build the JDBC drivers. So Sun Microsystem will just give a format. For that API format, DBMS manufacturer will write their own drivers so that they can be integrated with JDBC. That particular database can be integrated with JDBC. So the specifications required a JDBC driver to be a translator. So a translator is required to translate from API to low level DBMS message. So that is a main task of a driver. So tomorrow a new database, imagine a new database software has been created. So once a new database software has been created, if I don't provide the interface for the newly created database, nobody will use it. So in order to use my database, I have to provide an API. So what do I do? For each programming interface, so I will look at their API. So what is the API they are using to call the database? According to that particular format, I will design a driver so that from those programming languages, easily they can interact with our newly created database. So that what the interface which I will write, so that is nothing but a driver. So what does JDBC drivers by the DBMS manufacturers do? So what are the functionalities such JDBC drivers must provide? So they should have to open a connection between the database and the J2EE component. So a connection must be established. Then translate the low level equivalents of SQL statements sent by the J2EE component into a message that can be processed by the DBMS. So SQL statements will be sent by the J2EE components that must be converted into the low level statement so that it can be understood by the DBMS. Then it must return the data. So return the data that is according to the format of the specification. So JDBC, so that the program can understand it. Then it must also return the error messages if there are any errors in maybe in the connection or in the query that we run in the database that itself. And also it must provide a transaction management processes to confirm the JDBC specification. After transaction, the connection must be closed. So these are the functionalities that the JDBC drivers which are created by the manufacturer of the database must provide. Open the connection, then the query we will send from the program that has to be converted into lower level statements. Then the result that is given from the database has to be processed and so that it can be understood by the programming language. Then if there are any error messages that has to be managed, transaction processing has to be done. And then finally, the connection has to be closed. So these are the functionalities that DBMS manufacturer must provide. So the JDBC driver now makes the J2EE components the database independent. So due to the presence of the driver, a programmer can write the program irrespective of thinking what database is being used. So only appropriate drivers are loaded. That's it. One statement of loading the appropriate driver. That's it. No change in the program. So sending the commands, receiving the data, processing the data, closing the connection, everything will remain same. The only thing that changes is one statement that loads the database driver. So, and programmer need not worry about which database is being used. So that is the advantage of using the JDBC driver. So as a programmer means who is coding the J2EE components. So J2EE components can be designed as a database independent, and which complements the fact that Java is being developed as a platform independence nature. So today there are JDBC driver for all commercially available database packages. So all of them are available in the Sun Microsystem itself. So that can be downloaded also. So Java code independence is also extended to the implementation of SQL queries. So SQL queries are passed from the Java program through the JDBC API. API means function call through the JDBC drivers to the database without being validated. So the validation of the query is the responsibility of the DBMS. So it is the DBMS package that is going to implement the SQL statements that are present in the query. So after this, this is the concept of JDBC. So why JDBC? JDBC is just an interface from the, if you simply want to define JDBC, so JDBC is a interface between the Java program and the database. That's it. So all the conversion mechanism will take place in the driver. So in JDBC, there are 4 types of drivers. Okay, so why do we need drivers? So JDBC driver specifications has been divided into 4 groups. So each group is a type of JDBC. So each group is referred to a type of JDBC driver, and each one of them is used for a specific need of communication with the database. So we shall study one by one. So first one is a type 1 driver. So this type 1 driver is called as JDBC to ODBC driver. So JDBC to ODBC driver. Here JDBC means Java database connectivity. So on the other side, it is ODBC. So ODBC stands for Open Database Connectivity. So it is the JDBC to ODBC driver. So type 1. So Microsoft was the first company to devise a way to create the database. So it is a Microsoft which first created the database, and that database is independent of the program. So, and they have written a driver. That driver is called as ODBC. So if you are dealing with Microsoft Open Access database or any Microsoft based platforms like C# or SharePoint, C++, so they will all will be using the ODBC driver. So ODBC driver is already present for the Microsoft branch of languages. So what they do is, so ODBC is already present. So now if we are using the Microsoft branch of programs, for example, this is a Microsoft Access database, then we can use this ODBC. So ODBC is the basis from which the Sun Microsystem has developed the JDBC. So both ODBC and JDBC have a similar driver specification. So the JDBC to ODBC driver, so it is also called as a JDBC ODBC bridge. So this will translate the database calls between the JDBC and the ODBC. So these messages are translated by the JDBC to ODBC driver into ODBC message. Then later on, ODBC will take care of converting it into a database. So if we are using a critical application where performance is a matter, we will not use this ODBC bridge, because this ODBC bridge acts as an additional performance negatively, which it will impact. So what happens? So Java program that will send the command to JDBC, ODBC driver, and ODBC driver will interact with the database. So that's it. This is the first type of driver. So first type of driver is the JDBC ODBC bridge. That's it. Where ODBC will interact with the database. That's it. Then we have a second category of drivers that is called as type 2 drivers. And this is a very a famous question in exams, that is explain JDBC driver types. So 4 types are there. Type 2 driver, it is the Java native code driver. So this Java native code driver, it will use the Java classes to generate the platform specific code that can be understood by the database. That's it. So native means it is everything in Java. So this Java native code driver, that is type 2, is written in Java only. The manufacturer of the DBMS provides both the native Java native code driver and the API for us, so that we can generate the platform specific code. The disadvantage of using this particular driver is the loss of portability of the code. Because this is written in Java, if we port to some other language, then portability will be lost. Or if the database is changed, then portability will be lost. So the API classes for this Java native code driver probably may not work with other manufacturer of the database. So that is the drawback of type 2 Java native code driver. So type 2 Java native code driver. So it is written in Java class. It is platform specific, DBMS specific. Drawback is it cannot be used on other DBMS package. Then comes the type 3 driver. So type 3 driver is also called as a JDBC driver. So this is also referred to as a, Java protocol, and it is the most commonly used driver. The type 3 JDBC driver will convert the SQL query into JDBC formatted statements. Then this JDBC formatted statements are translated into the formats required by the DBMS. So what does it do? It is a Java protocol. The SQL statements are converted into JDBC formatted statement. So SQL statement into JDBC format. Then from JDBC format into the requirement of a DBMS. So that's how the conversion takes place. So this is called as a Java protocol. So similarly, we have the last category, that is the type 4. So type 4 driver is also called as a JDBC driver only, but here it is called as the database protocol. So why it is called as database protocol? Because this driver will convert the SQL query directly into the format required by the DBMS. So it is similar to type 3 JDBC driver, except that the SQL queries are directly translated into the format required by the DBMS. So there is no JDBC formatted statement here. This is direct DBMS format. So SQL queries need not be converted into JDBC formatted statement, and it is the fastest way to communicate. And JDBC, nowadays, JDBC driver, that is a Java protocol type 4, is predominantly used. So these are the 4 types of database drivers that are used. So next, the various JDBC packages. So the JDBC API contains 2 packages. So one is present in java.sql. So this contains the core data objects that are required for the JDBC API. So this also includes the Java object for connecting to database and interacting with the data that is stored in the database. So this is a basic package. So this java.sql is part of the standard edition also. So java.sql package is present in J2SE, that is Java 2 standard edition. So the advanced version, another package, so that is present in Java X.SQL. So Java X.SQL. So this is a extended one. So this is extended from the basic package, and this is present in the J2EE. So that is in enterprise edition. So this is this particular package contains the Java data objects that can interact with the Java naming and dictionary interfaces. And it also contains the Java data objects that can manage the connections, connection pooling, and many other advanced features of JDBC are present in this Java X SQL. So these are the JDBC packages that are present in the Java, which we must use in order to have connectivity with the database from our Java programs. So next is overview of JDBC process. So here we have 5 steps. So are 5 routines. Again, this is a very famous question that is often asked. The steps in JDBC process. So in order to connect the application with the database, what are the steps we must follow in the program? So that is listed here. So the connectivity with the database from the application, so it is divided into 5 steps. So first is loading the JDBC driver. When in the application we decide to connect with the database, the first statement should be to load the appropriate driver. Then Once the driver is loaded, then we must connect to the database. So how to connect to the database? We shall see with the examples and the API. Then we must create and execute the SQL statement, that is statement. Once a SQL statement is processed, executed on the DBMS side, it will return the data. In the fourth step, the data returned by the DBMS has to be processed. Once data processing is over, finally, we must terminate the connection with the database. So that is, we must close the connection. So these are the 5 steps that are involved in JDBC process. So let us look at one by one. So first step is loading the JDBC driver. So the JDBC driver must be loaded before we make any J2EE component to connect with the database. So the method we use to load the driver is class.farName. So this is the API, class.farName. So inside the parenthesis, we must specify which driver we are loading. Suppose if we are interacting with the Oracle database, then we must use this, that is sun.jdbc.odbc.jdbc odbc driver. So this is the name of the driver. So depending on the database we are using, we must extract the appropriate driver. So which database we are using, based on that, we must find its driver. For MySQL, there is a different driver. So that one we have to load over here. So finally, our first API will look like this, class.farName. So within the quotes, so the name of the driver, sun.jdbc.odbc.jdbc odbc driver. So if you had developed the last semester DBMS mini project in Java, you might have used this particular statement. Irrespective of what language you use, the first statement would be to load the driver. So some are API may be different in some other languages, but it is the driver that gets loaded. So and this value depends on the database to which we are connecting. So here it is connecting to Oracle. This is the first step, single API. Then once the driver is loaded, then we must connect to the database. So remember, database can reside anywhere in the world. Either when you shown your mini project, database was lying in your system only. But actually what happens in real world application, so the database may reside in some other system. So the database itself may be hosted on some servers. So we must establish a connection with that server. So when we want to connect anything in the internet, it will be through an URL. And any resources on the internet is identified by its URI or IP address. So that has to be specified. Then each database, it will have its own username and password. So we must specify the username and password of the database along with the URL. So we must then call a method that is called as driver manager dot get connection. So this get connection will try to establish a connection with the database. So driver manager dot get connection. So this is a driver manager is a class. So this is a get connection. It is a static method. So since it is a static method, no need to create the object directly. Use the driver manager. So this driver manager is a class that is present in the SQL package. So on this driver manager, we'll call get connection. For get connection method, we will have to pass the URL, username, and password. So how will this look? So once the get connection method is successfully executed, it will return the connection interface. or we can call it as a connection object. Using that connection object, we must then communicate with the database. So this is just like a file handle. When you open a file, you will get a file handle. Using that file handle, you will perform the read and write operation. So in the similar way, this get connection method will give a handle for database. That's it. And it is called as a connection interface. So java.sql.connection. So again, that is a connection interface. So that is also part of the java.sql package. So then all our queries, interaction with the database will happen with the connection object only. So in order to communicate with the database and the J2EE component. So here when we say J2EE component, it is the Java program. That's it. So look at the example. So this is a URL would look like this. JDBC colon ODBC colon customer information. So this is the URL. So an URL, typically an URL look like this. So if it is residing in the local system, or it is preceded by IP address sometimes, then user ID, then password, then what we do, within this try block, we are calling class.forName, then we are loading the driver. So once this driver is loaded, then what we are doing, we are calling on the driver manager dot get connection. For this, we are passing the URL, user ID, and password. So three things are passed. So these three variables are declared outside: URL, user ID, password. So here IP address is not there because this is connecting with the local system only. So if the database is in different machine, then we have to include its IP address and port number also. Then user ID, password. So it will return a connection object. So we have declared a connection object, connection, that is DB. So DB is equal to this. So a connection object will be returned. So all this thing we are putting in a try catch block because it is capable of throwing the exceptions. So if there is any errors. So this is the second step in the JDBC process. So the second step is to connect with the database. So now we have connected with the database. Then all our next request will be through this DB object only. Next, creating and executing the SQL statements. So in the next step, when the driver is loaded and the connection is successfully established, the next part is we must send the SQL queries. So how to send the queries? So SQL query is nothing but SQL commands. So that will direct the DBMS to perform some task. So we can create a statement or extract the data, insert a record, delete a record, alter the tables, anything can be executed. So in some of the cases, the database will return the result. If it is a select command or any update command or even an insert, it will return some data. So some rows of data may be returned from the DBMS to J2EE component. So how to execute the statement? So it is through the create statement. Okay, so this create statement is used on the database itself. Okay, so create statement is used to create the statements. So we shall look into an example. So first part is creating a statement, then is executing it. Once it is executed, it will return the result. So processing the result is the next step. So look at this particular example. So we are declaring a statement object. Again, this statement is a class that is present in the package, SQL package. Then result set is another one package that holds the result. Then within this, so we are specifying the command. So what is this? A query we are writing, that is select star from customers. Then we have to create a statement. So db dot create statement. What is this db? This db is a connection object, so which we saw in the previous step. So we have to call the create statement API on the connection object. So on the connection object, we are calling create statement. So that will return the statement object. So this data request is a statement object. So statement on this statement object, we have to call execute query, and the query string has to be passed here. So the method to execute a query is execute query, query string has to be passed. If this returns a result, so that will present in the result object, and this is the result set type. So once we get the result, so we can close it. So we can close the statement object. So this is the third step in DBMS process. So creating and executing the SQL statement. So for creation, we have to use the statement object, and for execution, we have to use the statement object only. So create statement, it is on a connection object. Execute query, it is on the statement object. So in the fourth step, that is the processing of data returned by the DBMS. So what does it do? So this SQL result set object, so it will assign the results that are returned by the DBMS once a query is processed. So again, this is present in java.sql.result set package. So assume that we have a customer table and we have requested the first name and last name from the table. So for that, we have to use some mechanisms to process the data. So we shall see the example. So how to iterate over the statement. Get string methods are used to extract it. Okay. So in order to iterate, so we'll use the looping mechanism. So the next method is utilized. So this next method will return true if one more data is present in the result set. Or we can put it in a do while loop or in a while statement, it is fine. Then we can use the get string method to extract the result set object. Okay. So we shall look with an example, then we will clearly understand the usage of these statement, that is get string and next everything. So yeah. So assume that we have already executed a statement and it has returned the result. So that is present over here. Okay. Results dot next. So it is returning a true or false. So based on if it is a false, we'll print no data has been returned. If it is true, then we will enter into a do while loop. Or this we can simply do it with while only. So what we do, each time this next has been called, it will return one, it will extract one row from the result set and give. That's it. Or it is just like a cursor. So if 5 rows are present in the result, so you can imagine the table that is being returned from the database query. So say that the 5 rows are returned. So when we run this next command for the first time, it will be pointing to the first row. So whatever we extract on this result set, it is the first row data that gets extracted. So how to extract? That is results dot get string first name. So this is the column name. So in the database, this first name is the column name. So results that get string first name will extract the data of the first row of first name column. So it will extract the first name of the customer. Then similarly result dot get string last name. So then it will extract the last name column data of the first row. Then what we'll do, we'll print it. That's it. So now processing of first row is over. Then we must proceed to second row. So in order to move the cursor from first row to second row, we must once again call the next method. So this next method will take the cursor to the next row in the returned result. That's it. And in order to extract a value of a particular column, we have to use get string. That's it. So, but one thing here is we must remember the names of the columns. Otherwise, we have to, there is one more mechanism. If we don't know the names of the database columns, then there is another way we can extract them. So this is about the processing of data. Again, this is a simple example. A few more stuffs are there with related to this result set. Of course, half of the module will be dedicated to this step only. Then the last step is terminating the connection. So once we complete the processing of data, the last step what we must do is we must terminate the database connection. So in database connection, we can terminate using the close method. And this close method we have to call on the connection object, because it is a connection object that is connecting with the database. And in order to close the database, we have to use it on the connection object. So why closing is important? Because each database will have a limitation on number of open connection it can manage. So if we close, which means we are freeing a connection for someone else or some other process. The connection gets closed, the pool becomes increased by 1 so that other objects can connect to the same database. So again, this again throws an exception if there is a problem. So the method is db.close. So these are the 5 steps in the JDBC package or process, or the steps in connecting to a database. So anyway, it can be framed. So these are the 5 steps.